Welcome y'all, Wes with DIY Food Plot Pro. Thank you so much for joining us. A lot of folks are beginning to think about frost seeding clover on their food plots for 2024. So I wanted to make a video and discuss some of the key details that go into making a frost seeded clover plot a success, and some of them that might make a frost seeding clover plot a failure. My name is Wes. I run the channel DIY Food Plot Pro. I've got a Bachelor of Science in Agronomy degree. I farm for a living, and I have an 1,800-acre whitetail deer hunting outfitter in Western Kentucky, where we rely heavily on food plots to hunt the whitetails that we are blessed to hunt here in West Kentucky. Frost seeding clover is a great way to get started this spring with a food plot. There are a lot of pros and cons to frost seeding clover, and we're going to discuss those in detail today, and I'm going to share with you some insights that really help bettering your chances for a high quality food plot. Now, I want to start out by saying frost seeding is risky business, because if you get a drought in the summer, May, June, July, you are suffering from extremely hot temperatures and extremely dry temperatures. You don't have the roots to support that kind of a drought. Your clover hasn't grown long enough to be that established yet. Where if you would have established it in the fall, those roots would have been deeper and that plant would have been more well established, has better chances of not dying and making it through a severe drought. So I want to get that out of the way. This is a little bit of a gamble, frost seeding clover. So some of the advantages is you get to go ahead and get started. Okay, you don't have to wait until the fall. You can go ahead and get started while the temperatures are somewhat pleasant out here right now. You can work all day and not work up a sweat. You need minimal equipment for frost seeding clover. You don't need very much at all. You can really get by pretty easily with a spreader and some way of spraying that. You don't need a disc, a chisel, brake and plow, a tiller. You don't need any of that stuff. Frost seeding is great for those years where you get plentiful rainfall and you continue getting rain all through the summer. You've essentially got a jump start on your food plot, a food plot that traditionally gets started in the fall. You've started in the spring and been able to provide the whitetails with another 6 months of nutrition. So there's some things that we really need to watch out for frost seeding clover. Not every single field or food plot that we have on our farms is set up to be highly successful. If you have a lot of thick thatch on a field that you're wanting to frost seed clover, that is not a good recipe for a successful food plot. You want bare type of ground. It doesn't have to be completely bare, but the most crucial detail in frost seeding clover is seed to soil contact. It is estimated that 70% of these food plots fail because they don't have adequate seed to soil contact. So if you have tall grass out there, are you completely out for frost seeding? And the answer is no. The problem is you have to get that thatch off. There are multiple ways of getting that thatch off and exposing that soil. A couple of different ways are fire. If you're going to do that, make sure you have someone with you that is experienced in that, and make sure you have plenty of fire breaks. Also, you can mow that thatch. If you get a good dry day, most of us are experiencing really dry conditions right now this winter. We're in a D1 drought in the wintertime right here. We can pretty much get equipment across all the fields right now, no trouble. So this would be a great time to go out there and mow with a riding lawnmower or a push lawnmower and mow that grass down as low as what you possibly can. Get that soil exposed. That is such a crucial step in this process. So for frost seeding clover, I'm looking at about 20% more seed than what I'm typically going to sow a clover plot with in the fall. You are definitely not going to get as good of a uniform stand. All your seeds are not going to come up this way. This is more of a high risk, high reward scenario than planting in the fall. So adding that extra 20% just helps to buffer a little bit. It makes sure that you've got enough seeds out there to get a good uniform stand. Another key detail in frost seeding is to watch out when you're doing this. So for us folks that are down south, I've heard my whole life, wait for a snow, wait for a snow, wait for a snow. Down south, when we get a snow, we're gonna have that snow for a couple days. And then it's gonna heat up to about 55 or 60. It is going to look like rivers coming out of these fields. We've all seen that happen before in the south, how fast a thaw occurs after you get that snow. That is not a good recipe for clover. Clover is tiny seeds, and if you have a whole bunch of little low-lying areas that are flowing water off this field while that snow melts, guess what else is going with that water? Your clover seed. So for me here in Kentucky and further south, I don't like doing this in the snow. I would rather do this when the ground is froze solid. I'd rather go out there when you're about to get a good warm day, but the ground is froze solid, and spread that on there. That freezing motion is going to expand the soil. And then when it thaws, it's going to contract, and those seeds are going to suck right down into that soil. At that point, they're not going to wash away because they're going to actually be embedded in the soil. A lot of folks think of frost seeding clover as this is easy, it's quick, I can get real quick results, and it's going to be good to go. And they kind of forget about their fertility. And the fertility is a huge, huge, huge deal. So what I would recommend is getting those soil samples taken right now while we're still just a little bit early for frost seeding. I would recommend going ahead and getting out there and taking those soil samples on those fields and knowing how much P and K is needed to put on to that plot. For clover, our seed definitely needs inoculant. That helps fix the nitrogen, helps the rhizobia bacteria infect those roots and fix its own nitrogen. We have to have the inoculant on clover seed. Whether you're frost seeding or whether you're planting in the fall, that's a must. The second thing we have to do is we're going to add fertilizers that are heavy in P and K. Since our clover is a legume, it can make its own nitrogen, but it's not making its own P and K. That's going to help the root system expand. That's going to help the plant stay healthier. We need high rates of P and K in these clover food plots that can help these plants get established, grow quicker, have better roots, and be able to withstand some of those drier, hotter periods. When you look at a bag of fertilizer for clover, ideally you're looking at the first number to be a very small number and the second two numbers to be big numbers, because the first number is nitrogen, the second is phosphorus, the third is potassium. We need high levels of P and K, the second and the third number, to get these soil nutrient levels up where this clover can do well. I would recommend going ahead and putting that P and that K on at planting, right after planting, right before planting. Some of that takes time to become available in your soil. It's not like I can throw this out here today and all of a sudden it's all available and the plants just all of a sudden start uptaking a lot of it. A lot of that takes time. Don't wait until the middle of June when it's already dry and your plants are suffering and then try to go out there and throw a bunch of P and K on. In my opinion, the biggest challenge of frost seeding clover is eliminating the competition. As we all know, first of spring comes and everything is growing. And by late summer, there's very few plants that are still germinating and causing us a lot of trouble in our food plot. That's one reason that this is better done in the fall. Planting clover is you don't have that weed competition. I cannot overstate this. Controlling your weeds and your grasses is the biggest issue. That is going to be a major hurdle that you are going to have to fight all year long to get this to be a successful plot. These winter annuals that are growing right now, you have to be able to eliminate them so that your clover has as good a start as it possibly can. And by eliminating them, I'm going to make a glyphosate application on those plots that I'm going to frost seed. I'm going to wait until the temperature is above freezing for a couple days, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to spray that entire plot before I frost seed and make sure all those winter annuals are dying. Roundup doesn't act extremely fast in the wintertime, so it's not going to look like you've done anything. It may take 2 weeks, may even take 3 weeks to see the difference in those winter annuals. That's because they're not growing at a rapid rate right now. Most of those herbicides work a lot faster when the plants are thriving and growing really fast. When we're looking at places to frost seed clover, what makes some places a great candidate for that? Some of the plots that I've planted this year that I know will do well are where my brassicas are at. We all have seen when you get down into late January, early February, and that cold weather really sets in, how much those deer hammer and defoliate that entire field. They're digging those bulbs up and eating all those bulbs, and it looks like a field that's just been chisel plowed. That's a perfect spot. I had some standing soybeans this year that the deer just completely wiped out. that is a wonderful spot. You have good seed to soil contact, cereal grains that are a little on the thin side. If you never really got that growth, a lot of us were in droughts this fall. Those cereal grains really never got that big, thick growth that we're all looking for. Those are really good places. If you need extra help with your food plots, I have got a website started, www.diyfoodplotpro.com. We have a monthly and a yearly membership where you can message or email asking me questions, and I will personally respond to your questions, answering to the best of my ability. This is a really good tool for food plotters to help them out, to have somebody in their pocket that they can call and ask questions, seek advice. If that's something that interests you, go to www.diyfoodplotpro.com, click on our products, and you can see the monthly or the yearly subscription. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Smash that like and subscribe button if you hadn't already.